I can say that it's 7 o'clock, and this is the weekly Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club ARDC grant update for Monday, January 26th, 2026. And a few things that we're going to talk about today look something like this. I'm just putting this up here quick. So we have a few things to talk about, but in the headlines is the recovery of the Dart repeater, and so this gives you an idea of the wiring, and that's why as we build the new repeater, why first what number one, this wiring, the audio wiring, is that old shielded wire, audio shielded wire. Most of the wiring in the new repeater is Cat 6 cable. So that's one big difference between what we have and what we're building. Now this has got to be 40 years, 40 years old, as best we can tell. So it's been around the block, but you can see why the wiring might get loose. And down here, this is a tray where the wires from the different receivers come in, and a couple of them, I've seen them, although they've been repaired after I saw them, were hanging by just one or two strands because the other strands had broken off. But anyway, so it's not unusual that, things like that exist. Regarding the, zoom out there. So that's that. I just wanted to show you what it looked like back there. So you can see, and so that's what we want to have an opportunity to clean up just a little bit. And then the other thing, of course, the other star of the show is this contraption here. And I have a whole thing about that if I can find, let me just find the right slide deck here. Okay, here we go, I think. Let me put that away. So there we go. Okay, so here is the circulator. We'll talk about, or the isolator. An isolator, which is a type of circulator, we'll talk about what it does and what we found in our tests. Basically, I used a couple of I hooked up this radio you see here is a FT 8900R, a Yaesu FT 8900. It puts out 50 watts, and wanted to use some power to really do the test. But I never took it off low power, which was only 5 watts. And here are the results that we got. All right, so this is just to show that we had a clean noise floor. Okay, so with the cables attached, but just end to end, just barreled together. So here you have it. So it's about minus 86, minus 87 dBm. Okay, that's a nice clean noise floor. So that's how we started. Then just taking a look here at the spec sheet, here we have it. So you can see, it comes in two flavors, a single and a dual. Now, here, the isolation, like the isolation between the forward and the back. So it's saying about 35 dB, something 30 to 35 dB. The insertion loss, and this is the key to figuring out something's not quite right with it. The insertion loss should only be 4/10 of a decibel, right? So, and the other thing I wanted to show is input power. Okay, it's rated for 100 watts, and so in hindsight, in hindsight, we may want to look at that, give it a little headroom, but that should have worked out okay in our advantage. So anyway, so the isolator, right? So basically, this is what's on the inside, and what it is, it's some ferrite material. It's ferrite ceramic type of a thing, and it's sandwiched between this enclosure here. And basically, the idea is that you can see the flow. Here are three ports: port one, port two, port three. So if port one is your transmitter, everything, it's a one-way street, basically. It's like a diode for RF, I suppose. So all the RF that goes into port one comes out port two. All the RF that goes into port two goes out port three. Let me get my pointer, sorry. Goes out port three, and so on. So the idea is your transmitter is going into port one, the transmitted power goes out port two, which goes to your antenna. Now, when you're in not very high RF areas, there are times when out-of-band signals can be picked up by the antenna, and you don't want that to go back into the transmitter amplifier because then it mixes. You have products, mixing products, where the two signals will mix, and then there'll be additional frequencies way out of band or in band, and it's hard to determine what it would be, but that's intermodulation. And so the idea here is if any stray signals happen down the antenna, right? Then what happens is they just go to port three, which goes to this resistive load, and it goes to ground. It's a 50 ohm load, and it just goes to ground. So that's the idea. So we just want to keep stray RF out of our amplifier. And so what does it say here? Oh yeah, okay. So it's pretty much what I just said. Okay, exactly what I said. So here again, here's an X-ray view of our unit here, and so on. So you can see that there's ways of tuning this thing and changing the frequencies and all that sort of stuff. So here's what we found. Here's what we found. So putting it up on the spectrum analyzer. So we're going to look right here at the isolation curve, something like that. And so this is what we got. Now these scales, as you can see here, are identical. Okay, so you can see that when we using 146.640, this is what we have. But look at if you take this, which I will do here if I can find my silly cursor. Hold on. Oh, this is just ridiculous sometimes, honestly. Um, okay, so what I'm saying here is if we take this and we superimposed it like we would, it should look something like that, right? Well, clearly we're not getting the same response. Number one, the isolation here, each one of these is 10 dB, right? So maybe you're getting 12 dB isolation. No, that's not even close. All right. So that's one thing. But here's something else that I found rather interesting is right here is a marker, right? And so that's more or less, maybe over a little bit right. But look at this, 145.140 megahertz. What are you kidding me? It should be at 146.640. So I'm not sure what's going on, but it's not cool. So so after looking that and scratching my head a bit, so then I changed things. So this is directly the 2 meter, called an RF generator. It's basically my transceiver. So 2 meter transmitter directly into the dummy load. Okay, so here you can see it. The span here is 5 megahertz. So it's just a little bit bigger than the actual 2 meter band, which is about four. I think what is it, 144 to 148, whatever. So it's just a little larger than the 2 meter band. But here you could see, so here we have direct, we have 13.75 dBm, minus 13.75 dBm. Now, when you put the isolator into the line, so look what happens. So now our signal drops to minus 41 and a half dBm. So we have a forward insertion loss of almost 28 dB. Well, that's not good. It's supposed to be like 4/10 of a dB. Okay, so something's not quite right. Now, flipping it around the other direction, right? So again, we go directly, the generator directly into the dummy load, and in this case, very similar. We have minus 12.1 dBm, right? Now this is going in the reverse direction now, right? So here, and I guess this is good because we want to keep signals from entering, but it's, an insertion loss of 40, about 40 dB. So, all right, I'm not even sure what to say about that. I mean, normally I would say, oh, that's great. That's the way it should work, but we'll see. But going forward, now, now, we're going from this to this. That should not be happening. The difference in amplitude here should change by a very, very small amount. So that's what that is. So here's the question. Here's the question. So, all right, obviously something's not working. So, do we just send it back and say, do a make good, or do we take things into our own hands and look into it and see if we can retune it or whatever? There is, they have very good instructions on how to do it, but that's a big question. So,
Well,
any,
Joe,
yeah, go ahead.
this is Leonard.
Yes,
Can
Leonard.
can you send the documentation just like you gave a presentation here? Can you take a picture of that or email it or however,
Yeah,
and ask them whether we should send it back or not, or should we try to tune it in?
right. Absolutely. Well, I'm sure they'll say if you want to, well, I don't know what they'll say, but it would seem to me it would be a challenge and it would be a cool thing if we could fix it. It's a challenge we don't have every day of the week, and we'll see. But then on the other hand, the price, this isn't nothing to play around with. This thing was almost $1,200. So they're
Yep.
not cheap.
I would suggest,
Actually, it's $3,000, Joe. You know, that $888 tariff charge that you're talking about?
Oh yeah, with the antenna, yeah.
Remember, you're talking about an $888 tariff charge, right?
Right, right.
Well, that is the difference in price between the 1530 isolator and the 1560 isolator for $1,900. So if we had ordered the 1560 isolator, it would have been the correct price at $1,900. The 1530
Oh,
that you have in your house right now that might be broken, it might not be broken.
it's
Either way,
broken.
it's been used.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if they're going to be able to swap it out and give us our $888 back for the 1560 that was on our requisition list. So I'm curious why item number 1530 was ordered in the first place and who made up this purchase order. Is this
Well,
something that we made them or is this something that they provided us? Do we have, see now right there, it says 1560, right?
yeah,
In the
right
yellow?
here. Yeah,
Yeah. And that's the
yeah.
one. If you go to the right, well, you don't have the right price in there for some reason. Oh
Well,
yeah,
hold on.
nope,
Let me. I could.
1979. So it's actually 1999 right now. It went up $20 since this part list went together. And I think it went up another $10. I think it's to $2,000, $2,009 right now for the T1560. So we paid $3,000 for a single isolator, non-cavity mount. So somewhere, I don't know, do we know who placed the order and why
Well,
they changed it from 1530 to 15 or 1560 to 1530?
okay. Well, I could talk to that a little bit, I guess.
Is that
Here,
something
I
that they
fixed
gave
this
to
up.
us in
Yeah.
lieu of the 1560?
All right. So a few things. Wait, where's the? So here's we could here. So here, the 1560 here. You're talking about the dual. Oh, I see. Yeah, the dual unit. Well, first of all, I will say this. Number one, uh, to minimize something 35 dB, between 30 and 35 dB, that's pretty reasonable. Um, 70 dB, we wouldn't, our equipment wouldn't even go down. I mean, that's a lot, I would say. And the insertion loss is less, which is a good thing. It's only 4/10 of a dB versus, of course, because it's the same, really the same circuit, but it's in series with each other. They're just duplicated, more or less. The idea, and also they're both 100 watts, so that the amount of power that they carry is pretty much the same. The 800, here's where I'm confused, and I just don't have the numbers in front of me. But the $888 was charged to us after we placed that order. Antenna Farm charged us $888, and they marked it as tariff. Okay.
Where
So
where is that document at? Well, where does it say
let
tariff?
me pull. You know what? I
Because
have
that's
it.
the
I
that
do. I have it. I have it. I
that
have it.
$900 is the exact price difference between the 1530 and the 1560. The
Isn't that
1560
interesting?
that we
Huh.
originally wanted is
Yeah.
$900 less than the 1530 that you have sitting in front of you right now.
Yeah.
Then that actually it's inferior and costs more. But if you look closely at their specs, and I've
Yeah.
included all this in the email, it
Yeah.
says it's meant for 148 to 178 megahertz or something close to that.
Okay.
148 to 178. We're at 146. We're not at 148
Whoa.
megahertz.
Hold on. Back up. Say that again. I lost.
Okay. Right.
I
Well, I
lost.
included all this in the email, Joe, and I
Right.
have screen grabs of all
Okay.
the specs between Antenna Farm, Telewave, the prices. I got our parts requisition order. We have
Right.
a purchase order. We don't have a packing slip. We don't have any documentation from them that this thing was even tuned. There should have been, I would imagine, some kind of a spec sheet, some kind of an inspection sheet saying, yep, somebody signed off. It was tuned to 146. Here's your inspection sticker. Here's the sheet. I don't know whoever got that, if we even got it when all this stuff came in. And
Oh, there's a
I'm
tag on
just,
that isolator. There was a tag
Yeah. I'm
on
going
it.
to show. Hold on. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Stand by a minute. Let
Yeah,
me.
actually, did they send a spec sheet from the test when they aligned it? Because
that's what
that
I'm
usually is
wondering.
included.
I'm sure they
Exactly.
did. I'm sure they did. And
Who has it?
I'll have to. I'm sure I can get a copy of it because I'll reach out to them. Like Glenn said, what I'm going to do is I'll provide all these drawings and all the photos and all that stuff. Clearly, you can see here, and I looked at this where it's. Where am I here? Oh, hold on. Trying to navigate all my screens. Oh, there we go. I saw this 146.640, and then I thought, wow, did we put that on? But I look at this label and I see it's so nicely aligned on
Yeah,
both sides. I
that's
think that was
factory.
done at the factory. Yeah, that's factory. So, Al, all good questions. Um, let me. We will get that sorted out. But your point was, if you could just, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I'm kind of missing the point a little bit. Your question really was ordering this or another isolator. Is that what your
Yeah,
question is?
go back to the parts requisition list, Joe. The one that you showed with the little yellow box around the 1560.
Oh yeah, okay. Hold
I
on.
think I think what I was getting at is we were sent something that we did not order. We
That's
ordered
what I'm
something different.
wondering. We had a
No,
parts requisition.
we
Keep going. That's
where
not
am
the
I?
right one.
All right, tell me where I'm going. Tell me
Keep
where I'm
going. Keep going. You had it up a little while ago. Keep going. Keep going. Oh, right there. Stop. Go back. Right there.
right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All
What
right.
is it? What's highlighted?
The T1560. That
Okay. Right. Circulator, Telewave, pin number 12915, the T1560 circulator. That's a that was a dual isolator and it was a cavity mount.
So let's
We
look at this other thing here then. What does
and
this
that
say?
says what does that say?
The T1530,
Yep.
and we are charged $1,200.
That's how much the 1999 is how much the 1560 cost. The 1530 cost $900 more than that. So that $888 charge was the difference, the upcharge for the 1530 over the 1560 that we originally wanted. Are
Okay.
you understanding this
Now I
now?
get it. Yeah, I do. I do. I understand now.
So that price
Right,
difference is the difference between those two products.
right.
So why is it a 1530 here that you got up on the screen right now?
I think that's interesting question. So, okay, hold that thought for a minute. Hold that thought for a minute. All right, so now we have two issues. Well, issue number one is why the thing doesn't work in the first place, no matter what we ordered. And then the second issue is why did we order a 1530 instead of a 1560? I will say I'm not fundamentally for what we're doing. It doesn't. I don't. I have a lot to say one way or the other. The 1560 certainly has much more attenuation, but how much attenuation do we need? I guess is the question, and I don't know the answer to that question. But in one time, I know it was a lot because we had all that telephone gear up there from T-Mobile. I guess, yeah, all that T-Mobile equipment was up there. Currently, it's still a pretty hot area because you have the TV stations and the radio station across the street and Channel 4 just down the road there a little bit. So, I mean, it's a force to be reckoned with. So, but good question, Al, and we will get an answer to that. So,
Well,
getting back.
who placed the order? I'm just curious who placed the order. Did we place the order? How did they get this order?
We placed the order. Who specifically placed it? I I think it was a chain of people. I started out back in the early days, and let me just pull up as the guide. This order was based on a guide that I created originally. At least
Well, the
I
parts requisition sheet that you had right before this,
yes.
you guys got everything on that, correct?
Yeah, yes, we have the antenna, we
You
have
got the bus bar and
polyphaser,
all that stuff,
yeah, the
right?
duplexer. Yeah, we do. Yeah, this all came and the grounding bar. Yeah, yeah, this all came in that one order. This all
Is there
came
a
in that.
packing slip that came with any of
I'm
this?
sure there is.
I mean, this is not Antennas Farm receipt. Is there a receipt from the Antenna
No,
Farm?
this is a purchase order from us.
From us,
Is
right?
my guess. Is
What's
my
from
guess.
them?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
got to be something from them. They're just not going to
Okay.
put a bunch of parts in a box and ship it.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Now
There
go back to
absolutely is a shipping. There absolutely
the
is a packing list.
right.
Yes,
We need that. Go back to the
we need that.
previous page where it showed the whole list, the parts requisition for the antenna project.
All right, hold on. Which is not this.
That one right there.
Yeah, this is
Yep.
not the original one that I had, which I'd like to pull up. I'm just curious. I
Oh, it
could be.
says order from the antenna farm right at the top.
Yes, I see that.
So
Yes.
did we
Yeah.
get everything else on there except for maybe coax? Because I know we didn't order any
Yes.
coax, right?
Well, we have the antenna.
You
We
got
got the antenna.
polyphasers, you got a grounding plate, you got the duplexer. All that was correct.
Right.
You
Yes.
got, I don't know if you got end mail
So
connectors or not. We don't
so
need those right now. Ain't no big deal. But you got the
right.
polyphase the grounding plate,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
circulator that's not on this list,
Yes, it is.
that,
It's right here, the circulator
right?
right
But
here.
you got the wrong one.
Okay, yeah.
You got the wrong circulator, and you got the right duplexers. Those are correct. That's the ones we got. That's the ones we needed.
Yeah, this should have said
Those are correct. So
hold on.
that circulator, that 1560,
Yeah.
was the $1,900 circulator. Now, when we gave him the bill, we gave him money for the $1,900 circulator, but somebody listed the 1530, the $3,000 circulator. So we
Yes.
screwed ourselves out of $100, $800, $900 for one by ordering the wrong part.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay. Go. Well, let me follow up on that
okay,
and answer
well,
that. That's a great. You know what? You got sharp eyes there. That's great.
yeah,
We have all
do
the
this right.
paperwork. try getting it in one place is not the easiest thing. I will do that, and I will follow up with an email, and we'll answer that question, that what you raised right there.
Now,
We'll,
I
we'll,
wouldn't tell them anything. I wouldn't send them any pictures that you did anything to it. You could maybe send them your test pictures. I don't know, but I
yeah,
wouldn't
the
tell them that it
test.
was.
Well, the test
I
pictures. I
wouldn't
got
tell
it.
them that it was put in the system. Don't tell them it was used. Say, hey, this thing isn't registering right. It's not coming
Right,
out right. Can we
right,
get some paperwork that it was
right,
right? If
right.
that's the case, we want to exchange it. We don't
Yeah.
want this one. In fact, we want our money back. I sent you a link also, an
Where
email in the
an
email
email?
today.
Oh,
Everything
today.
is,
No,
yeah, this is the
I'm sorry.
latest email,
Oh,
and it
okay.
has a list of all these circulators that are manufactured commercially and for amateur radio. There's a
Okay.
company, it's called Tesco. They have every type of circulator you could possibly imagine. So
Oh,
if you want
I know Tesco. That's where I bought my spectrum analyzer,
to,
my
okay,
spectrum analyzer
yeah.
from.
Well,
Tesco.
they
They
have
have good prices.
a
They have good prices.
plethora. They have a plethora of
Yeah.
circulator isolators. Now
What
the
time?
prices are pretty close to what we paid at Antenna Farm. The other problem, it could be the isolator slug itself could be bad, and we could theoretically just replace it, then ship it back and get the correct isolator, plus an $888 back to use for a new repeater. We don't want to be
Right.
cutting
So,
into our next repeater fund by misordering things. So we got to nail down how this
yeah,
got swapped. Is it on their
yeah,
end?
yeah,
Did
yeah.
somebody on our end pick the
Right,
wrong part, arbitrarily decide they didn't want to use a 1560, they wanted a 1530?
right.
But
So,
Mike VPC,
yeah,
recommended this one, and I agree. It looks like the one that we need is the
right,
1560. It has
right,
dual isolation and it has a cavity mount, so you can mount it right on the duplexers.
right, right, right. Okay, so leave that with me. I'll do a follow-up on that. Great for noticing that, and we'll get all the documentation. I was just looking at the email that you said you sent. That was today, you said, right? Around when did you send it? Because I don't, oh, Al, I see something here. I don't
Muted,
know.
Al. You muted.
Yeah. Are you talking? Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
okay. Yeah, it was about the circulator. That was the topic. Went back between John and me and Andrew. I
I know. I saw
There's
it
a
with
whole thread
Andrew.
of them, right?
Yeah. That was today, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the last one was today with the link to the dummy load and to all the other isolators that could be purchased in lieu of if we get our money back, which I hope we do.
Oh,
That's a $3,000 hit if it isn't.
right.
I've been screaming, where is this isolator? Remember months ago, I said, where is this isolator circulator part? We even had one go through the box and he pulled everything out and he said, oh, he gave it to John to put on the old equipment. Well,
All right.
that's what happens when you loan things out. She's,
Is this what you were talking about here?
yes, there's one of them, right?
That's one of, yeah, I see there's a
That's the
bunch here.
replacement slugs.
Got it.
So if
Oh,
the
yeah,
slug is shot,
for the
let's
dummy, yeah,
right,
for this
right.
thing, yeah.
If it's shot,
Yeah.
we can replace it and send it back, clean it up, make sure the
All right.
threads look good. Say, hey, it's in the box. We got the wrong
Yeah.
one. But
All
if it
right.
isn't that and it's something else,
Yeah.
I hope we didn't just eat a $3,000 piece of brick.
I would highly doubt that we did. So the question here is, just look at this for a minute, is the third, where, shoot, oh, here. So the question here is 35 dB of isolation enough for what we're attempting to do? And again, what we're attempting to do is any stray RF that happens down the antenna, down the heliax, in, into and through the diplexer on the transmit side going in reverse. And
I
then,
would say no. Down RFI alley, why
yeah, so
would we want less that costs more?
right. So
You
I'll
know,
tell you what, let me take that
70,
up with John, AAUU, myself, Andrew, we'll take it up with all the wizards on staff here, and we'll determine on whether or not 35 dB is enough or 70 dB. Of course, the more the better, but on the other hand, don't forget that the insertion loss doubles, is here, it's almost 1 dB. So it's a trade-off,
and
basically.
remember,
Yeah.
the less insertion that you have right now between those two parts is a
Yeah.
third more.
Is
So
it
you're
what?
paying a third more. You're paying
Yeah.
$2,000 for a third more, double the insertion loss, whereas the 1530
Yeah.
is half the insertion loss for a third more money. So it costs you a third more for less insertion. You understand? And if
Are you, so what is your price on the 1560?
1119, 1900, I think it was 1900.
Something doesn't add up in my head. Because if it's twice the circuitry, how could it be less? I'm not sure.
That's what it is
Okay.
across the board. Look at all the
Yeah,
guys that
which I have
provide you.
not done, but
Yeah. And
I
the other
would say
thing
I'm
with the
surprised. Yeah.
1530, if you
Yeah.
look at Antenna Farm's website, their spec sheet for it
Yeah.
shows it to be operational between 148 and 174 megahertz. The 1560, I think, is operational between 117 megahertz to 150 megahertz. I'm not sure what
Well,
what
wait, whoa. So here, the 1530, right, which is
right.
what we have right here, and they're both the 1530 and the 1560, according to the spec sheet that I pulled, is between 118 and 174 megahertz. So that's actually correct because we're
Right
146,
now
right?
that is different from what Antennas Farm spec sheet says. So if you look at the Antenna Farm, and I don't know if they're going to be,
This is from
I don't know
Telway.
who's right,
This is
who's
from
right.
Telway. We need to see. So, ooh, yeah. All right.
And the Antenna Farm shows the 1530 at 148 to 174 megahertz. Oh, I'm sorry, and good for 300 watts. So if anything, the
No, that's not
1530
right.
handles more input than
Yeah,
the
that's not right.
1560.
Can I
And
ask
yet,
one quick question?
Yes,
Do
go
we
ahead.
know for a fact that the unit that we have now, the one that's incorrect unit, is it non-functioning? Is it
Yes,
broke or is it just
I could unequivocally say, and I have the data to
okay?
back me up,
Okay,
that yes, it's not working. Something is
okay.
wrong. I don't know
It's
what it
not just that
is.
it's programmed. It's not just that it's tuned wrong. It is
Well,
actually non-functional.
I would say it's more non-functional. In other words, it's not giving attenuation worse than it's not tuned right.
Okay,
The remember this. This is a bandpass filter. It's actually
right.
yeah. So all good questions, and we will follow up on this. And got my work cut out for me this week, so we'll do that. All right, let's if we can if we could just take a look at a few other things here before we get too far down the what I have something else here. Hold on. All right. All right. Now, let me just pull up my other chart here. All right, so this is from 2 weeks ago. I so here so let me just say this. So All Star, I do owe Andrew the information on the All Star node, and I need to talk to him, I guess, offline or in a small group, and just get that information passed along, and let's get this processed. We are 95% of the way there, and there's a few things that Andrew points out, and I think a few others also mentioned that number one, the All Star node should be in, the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club, that's the entity. So, and it should have like a club, like a multiple email, because things sometimes, currently, when I first filled it out, I used my own email, not really giving it much thought. And then we got the process moving. But we do want to change that so that it's more club oriented. So there's that. The next thing, I believe the inventory tags, right? They've been ordered, I believe. Al, do you have any updates on that? Can you fill us in? What do you know about the inventory
Well,
tags?
I think last week we went over that in the
Yeah, what did we say?
meeting. Dave
Andrew
was
ordered
gonna
them.
Dave's gonna buy like 100 or 200 sequential numbered,
Right.
barcoded, QR coded tags in green.
That's
So,
right.
and
That's
have them
right.
shipped to Len's house,
Exactly. So my
or I
question,
mean the repeater site.
yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. And I believe that that has been done, and I will that needs to be double checked. I think because he sent it because he wanted to get it done before he left. I think he's down
Yeah, he ordered
near
them
the
before they left.
he did, right, Les? That's what
Yeah.
I thought. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, but well, that needs to be a follow-up. Make sure that's done, and I'll get with Bob on that. What are we? Dave is not here. Mark. Oh, Mark's not with us today, but Mark very generously said that he would loan us. He has the machine that makes the tags there. Mark has been, and the other Mark, MAF. Yeah, great. We stand up and salute. Great job there. As we're moving along, and hopefully we'll have something concrete to say shortly on that.
Well, do you want to hear it?
Yeah, what is the update,
Oh,
Right
please?
please
now,
go ahead.
I've been in
Yes.
touch with Gary a couple of times, and the holdup is still Nancy. She hasn't responded to Gary, and Gary today has pushed another message to her to try to get it on top of her queue. And he's a little aggravated about that too, but that's where we're at.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Good things come to those who wait. Although
So we're trying. We're still waiting though to hear from.
absolutely. Absolutely. Great. Fantastic reaching out and doing that. All right. So we're going to stand by with that. In the meantime, thank goodness we're not under any pressure at the moment, but we do want to nail this down for long term. So excellent there. Grant spending. We're going to have a follow up on that. We talked about the antenna system and the circulator there. So the list of remaining equipment that's needed for purchase uh, is still on the list here, and that would be Andrew needs to be involved in that along with really it'd be nice if John AAUU could chime in on that a little bit and whoever else is knowledgeable in that way. Um, Label maker supplies, the 2 to 3 rolls, we'll get that on order. We'll get that there. And okay, so David, I think he's near the equator somewhere. Um, okay. Yeah, asset tax, we talked about that. All right.
Near the equator, underwater.
Underwater, and hopefully he's got a large oxygen tank on his back. And I will close the meeting of the Hazel Park Amateur Radio Club ARDC grant update. And we'll check your emails tomorrow. We'll start the process of following up on the questions and great questions. Thanks for pointing that out. And with that, I will say good evening, 73s, and thank you.